Alright, what is up YouTube? Back at it again with another video, and today we'll be doing a deck profile on the new Riviere deck for Bermuda. And I know we haven't done like any deck profiles in a while. I've been wanting to, but every time I wanted to do like a deck profile on a deck, it would already be like talked about, and I already have it. We already play tested. Everyone knows what it does. The builds are always cookie cutter about 80% of the time anyways, so we just passed that and just went straight into play testing. And yeah, but today, since it's fresh, this is still like kind of fresh, we definitely wanted to talk about this today. And yeah, BT, as far as you guys know, is probably one of the best, if not the best decks of the format. Really consistent. And yeah, like I said, this is Riviere, and probably gonna go into talking about the other variants soon too on the channel, but as of right now, we're just gonna be talking about this. So this is my build on Riviere, and obviously you gotta run the starter, the zero, because you need it for the right chain for the deck. So first off is zero. Next up is the boss monster of the deck, 4 of the new top auto Riviere. Really insane card. What it does is when it's placed, counterblast when it's card a card, draw 2 cards. And what makes it broken is the second skill is when after end of the battle it attacked, you could discard 2 cards from your hand, right up to 1 Riviere card, Riviere is card name, from your hand to Vanguard circle and stand -1 check. So what that essentially means is that you could rewrite this over and over again if you had it in your hand. And if you guys remember the old, I guess say G era or whatever, Revenger card, the one that just sack 3 reset from your hand, it's essentially the same thing, but there's no retiring. You just discard 2 cards. And especially if you hit if you do the skill where you counterblast 1 and then discard a card and drop 2 more cards, you kind of just siphon your hand, and it helps you, retain some advantage from that. But what makes it broken too is that it doesn't necessarily have to be the grade 3 that you rewrite it into. You can rewrite it into a 2 or a 1 if you really feel like you should kill. That you could kill that turn. I've done it. I've killed it before where I just did like 3 or 4 of these and then just slapped a grade 2 on top, because like I said, you can just discard the 2 cards and just right into a Riviere. But keep in mind, if you do that, you're going down a grade, down to a 2, and your defense is very, very, like, it's gonna be harder because obviously the base number is different. So keep that in mind if you guys want to do that. But yeah, 4 of that by far best boss monster. Now we run 4 of the backup grade 3, which is the, what's it called, the animated rooting marijuana. Anyways, this one is you write this because if your Vanguard is top auto Riviere, you could discard this card. You draw a card, and you essentially could put any card into your soul, and if it's a Riviere, you can add it back to your hand. So what that basically means is that you could recycle these if you get them in the grave. Or what I like to do early on, say when I ride up to grade 3, I Soulblast out maybe the 1s or 2s in the deck, because I guess it's a right chain, so there's a Riviere 1 and 2 I'm about to show you guys in a second here. You could discard this, add back the restanding grade 2 or 1, and essentially, continue your plays or whatever combo pieces you need. You don't necessarily have to pick this up all the time. This makes it good. So definitely 4 of this to keep the consistency going. And yeah, like I said, you can pick up anything from the 3, 2, and 1. So that's basically the 3s. Now we're gonna go into the 2s. As I said, it is a right chain, so you do run 4 of the Super Auto Riviere. So what this does is hand, if your Vanguard is grade 2, you could ride this unit and draw a card. And if you do, you could call 2 of the grade 1 Mermaid Idol Riviere from your soul to rear guard. Essentially, that's going to be like a plus, 2? Because if you did the skill, the grade 1 twice, which I'm going to go into in a second here also, it'd be really strong. And yeah, you write this from your hand. So basically, you just write a 2, write this to your hand, and draw a card. That's what makes it really good. So you don't necessarily negative, you just kind of siphon it out. You can just be like, oh, right, and then draw a card if you don't have the 1s. But essentially, if you do this after you do the 1s, you're just like super ahead. You get the free boosters and everything, and yeah, it's really good. So, and on top of that, it's a restanding attack when your Riviere Vanguard is placed. So, like attack with this first, then attack your Vanguard, restand, or rewrite Riviere grade 3 and restand this, and just keep going. It's really strong. So 4 of that, most definitely. And we also run 4, I think is by far the best grade 2 of the deck. 4 of from Coral Pastorel Caro. Honestly, I feel like this card's gonna get hit in some way, shape, or form for this deck because it just makes this deck really, really consistent. So what it does is you Soulblast 2, set your deck for up to 1 card with the same card name as a grade 3 Vanguard and add it to your hand. It can only be used once per turn or per card name. So you can't just go call Soulblast 2, add, call Soulblast 2, add. No, it's only once per turn, legitimately. And shout out to Larry Mons from Team Ohana. I'm gonna link their channel in their channel in the video below for the last 2 Caros needed for me to finish the deck. Huge shout out to him for sending me it. And yeah, 4 of these just so you can consistently Soul Blast out your Caros or your Rivieres. So that's one way you get them to drop. And you know, use a grade 3 to add them back to your hand and just keep the cycle going. So that's also another reason why it's really, really good. And I recommend picking up this card for now. Hopefully it doesn't get hit since it's still relatively new, but I recommend getting 4 of this. It is kind of pricey. It's one of the more pricier grade 3 triple rares, sorry, not grade 3, triple rares in the game because it's like 10 bucks off release. Usually by this time, you know, with so much of them out, they're going to be a lot more cheaper, but no, this is definitely a card that you need for the deck to help you with the consistency of the deck. So definitely 4 of this. Now, some text of the deck. I do run 3 Lizzalettes. This might be bumped up to 4 because I forgot how broken this card is. It's just call from your hand grade 1 if you wanted to. Yes, one of the free superior calls, advantage gains of the deck. You basically play this, look at top card, call it to the board, or soul charge it. This helps a lot with a lot of your combo plays. Either you could, say you play this, say grade 1. You could soul charge the 3 if you'd like. Say you soul charge a Riviere, because if you, that card's not going to your hand, period. So what you could do if you hit like the grade 3 Riviere is you could just soul charge it, and then boom, grade 2, go this, soul blast it out, and then when you hit grade 3, hit the grade 3 Mirror Joanne, and whatever it's called, and then discard it and add it back to your hand. So there's like a lot of little gimmicks you could do with the deck, and that's definitely one reason why I recommend you run this at least at 3 or even more. So yeah, this is a really good card. And again, like I said, you guys remember Melody format. You call this, you hit a Caro, grade 3, you're going crazy. This is the reason why this card got hit in that deck, and as a choice restriction. And I honestly think this card should just be outright just like shouldn't have been a card. This is ridiculous of a card. And finally, my last tech choice is 2 Shiny Star Coral. Might be wondering why I do Coral. Again, I like the point of it being a Soul Blast 2 or Soul Blast to get the Rivieres to my drop. And honestly, it's when it's placed, basically you just soul charge 1. Not really relevant, but you know, if you could still do some cheeky plays with that. And like I said, you Soul Blast 2, it would get plus 10, so it could be a beater mid early game where you go to grade 2, Soul Blast a 2, you know, like I said, set up your graveyard for Riviere pieces that you could drop for the Mirror Joanne to add back to your hand when you hit grade 3, which is really strong. And yeah, it's going to be a consistently 20k beater if you just keep Soul Blasting the 2, which is really, really good. What I can do probably later on, like I'm testing it the way it is right now, it's doing really well, but I might consider dropping this again and just going 4, because like I said, it does come up, but you already have the 4 Soul Blast, or the Soul Blast cost for Caro, which is already really good. So this is just kind of like overkill about Soul Blasting. It's just if I needed to Soul Blast like now, so I could recycle it with Mary Joanne, any piece that I need in the grave, I can. That's the reason I run 2 of it. But just food for thought. Might do 4 of this. Still in testing phase, but like I said, it's doing really well right now. So there's that. So that was the 2s. Now I'm going to go into the 1s. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys about the best grade 1 of the deck. This is the Mermaid Idol Riviere. Alright, so what he does, or she does, I'm sorry. What she does is, from your hand, you Soul Blast 1. And you ride this unit when you're at grade 1. So basically, you just do your first on ride with your grade 1. It doesn't matter which grade 1, but you ride. Look at top 7. Add a Riviere card. Shuffle your deck, and if you Soul Blast the starter, that's why it's very important that you run this exact starter for the deck, because you get to draw an additional card. So what that essentially means is, say you hit this one again off its effect, you could redo it again, set up the 2. So you could ride your grade 2 from your hand. Again, it's an axe skill, so you have to ride another 2 first. You do the grade 2, you Soul Blast these 2 out, you draw a card for grade 2. So that's really strong. You have 2 boosters, and on top of that, it's a 10k booster. Makes the magic numbers for everything that you hit. I mean, obviously, other than like the 10ks, but the 13ks are always magic numbers. This sits behind your Vanguard is a magic number. It's really good. I think this is me hitting this at least once early game, you're probably in a really good advantage. It's funny because I usually hit 1 or 2 of these in the early game, and it's pretty funny, and I think it's really, really strong. I don't know why they decided to do this for this red chain, but yeah, so like I said, you need the 1, 2, and 3, 4 ofs, very important. So there's a lot of targets you could hit with this. Really rare that you miss, but if you do, I mean, it's not the end of the world. You still draw one just for soul blasting out the 0. So keep that in mind, guys. So there's that. Next up, we run 3 of the Rainy Tier Steza. A lot of builds don't really... They were like maxing this out or even lowering it down to like 2. But I feel like I like seeing this because what I like to do early game is if I had to discard a 3 early game just for the cost of, say, like my next grade one that I show you, I could just put it back in, then draw the extra card, or like mid battle, because this is all in the same step with, say, like the grade 3. After it boosts, I could do this skill and then, you know, potentially get 2 more chances to hit another Riviere to do the superior ride, which makes it really strong. There's that, and then the 2 from this effect, so there's a 4-card chance for you to hit another Riviere. So that's the reason why I like doing this. And on top of that, you recycle Rivieres. Nothing wrong with that. You know, you still blast them out. You already use one of your Mirror hands, and then just do this. You put another one into your bottom of your deck. Just do a Caro, add it back to your hand. You just continue to loop. It's very not loop, but like the play of just rewriting and just, you know, overwhelming your opponent with force markers. So I recommend at least 2 or 3 of this. Still really good. So at least 3 of that. And I see a lot of people do 4 of this one. This is from the child deck, I believe. The special message Aurora. On ride, draw 1, discard 1. So like I said, don't hate me for this, but I do it sometimes. If I have too many of this early game, what I like to do is just go ride, draw, discard this, go grade 2 turn, Steza, counterblast one, because they hit you, put it back at the bottom of your deck, and you just don't lose anything. You just draw another card, and you just keep going, and then go Caro grade 3 and just add it back. So you don't really like lose anything. People would be like, oh, you could have had 3 that turn. But what I like to tell people is, if you could kill them grade 3 and they're at 2 or whatever, if you could do it, do it. But if you don't force yourself to just want to do that play, you know, just, you know, gradually edge them. You're a force deck, you know, you advantage them anyway. So what I like to do is at least, like, if they're triggering like crazy, okay, that's cool, I'm done there. I'm not gonna keep doing my rewrite, you know. I probably do it once or twice this turn, chill, next turn come back around, just redo it again, you know, reset the tempo for it. And that's what I like to do. So like I said, like, I encourage you guys to think of it more than just a singular play, like just do it, and just like, oh man, this deck is like whatever because, oh, you know, you lose steam. No, you could easily just manipulate yourself and like have it so you don't just lose steam instantly, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say about that grade 3. But yeah, like, so I run 3 of this because you only need to do it like once or twice, and other than that, I'm like whatever about it. It is a siphon, so that's really good too. You can do 4 of it if you like. I just do 3. It's totally fine with me. And finally, the last grade 1 I run is the countercharger for Bermuda. The, what's it called? The loftiest pure age. Basically, what it is, when your Riviere Vanguard is placed, you can, if you have 1 or less, that's really important, because I thought it was no face-up damage, but it's 1 or less, you can retire this card, draw a card, and countercharge 1. So what that essentially means for you is that it's an extra card for you to dig for your Rivieres. And I mean, countercharging is cool. 1 or less, so that's really good. I saw other builds were running a lot more of this. I personally just do 2. It's not none too bad. Like I said, I have a bunch of other utility cards like these 2. Totally okay. If you want to bump it up, you can. But like I said, this is just more down the line, streamline of extenders for draw power and siphoning. So there's that. And now the trigger lineups. I personally like the 6 draw, 6 crit variant. All right, hear me out on this, okay? A lot of people like 8. I understand that. I understand the idea of you drawing into your pieces and just like, every time I hit this, either I beat them here or I go home. I like, okay, sure, whatever. You draw your cards, right? But I like the idea of hitting a crit is overwhelming. You hit a crit when you drive check. You put it on the restanding grade 2 Lizelet, or not, grade 2 Riviere, and you're just, at that point, overpowering your opponent. That's the reason I see this. And besides, definitely I understand that if you hit the, you could discard this, you hit a draw trigger, you just even out on your, you know, your Riviere, you know, discard, draw, because you know you have to discard and everything for it. I totally understand that. Hitting a draw trigger mitigates that. It's just perfect setup, but I just don't want to instantly deck out every time I do it. And like I said, I pace myself enough. That's not a problem at all to do this. But like I said, I'm not hating the idea of 8. I might even try 8 too. I'm just really enjoying this because I just flip a crit and it's just like their heart just drops and it's just kind of like, damn it, now I have to deal with the crit rear guard. You know, everything's going to that one rear guard in the back because you know you can't put the crit in the Vanguard if they PG it or something. Or what people like to do also that I realize is people do one to pass. Okay, one to pass when you do your Riviere reride because it's only one drive check, which is logical, which is smart. You're supposed to really just do one to pass and just take it instead of taking like the free damage each time you do the grade 3 Riviere. But like they do one to pass, hit a crit, game's over. That's really all the case is. That's all she wrote. So I wouldn't go down. I wouldn't do 8 crit personally. I like to still draw, but I don't want to overextend myself with drawing too much. So this is why I do my 6 crit, 6 draw. Again, all personal preference. You guys could do whatever you like with that, but I do that. And finally, your 4 heal. Nothing much to say about that. Healing is broken. So yeah, that's the main deck, and I guess you just show some. Oh man, I just sent my force markers. Oh, I got the winter ones. Ride my horse to the old town. Okay, whatever. So force 1 markers. Usually what the deck would like to go into with the continuous rewriting skill. But thanks, shout out to Marcel, during a playtesting game that we did, I did see the benefit of doing Force 2. Hear me out. It's not bad, okay, because it's kind of scary. I mean, I would only do it if, I guess I'm like, it was a meme when he did it, but it kind of pushed me to the point where I was like, oh man, this is kind of broken, you know? But say you get early game crits, you put them at a position where they're at 4 damage or really lethal early on. Like I said, the crits really help get you to that lethal point. Just go Force 2 and just rewrite over and over again and just see if you could just get that lucky 1 to pass or that lucky push to just dunk on them with the Force crit on it. Of course, your numbers are probably ass. They're probably going to drop a 25 for 2 to pass. Like I said, you're probably memeing at that point for doing Force 2, but if it does happen, I would like to just have the option to do it. Like I said, I usually do it when I'm really ahead, or sometimes when I'm like super behind. Say I reride the grade 3, the other backup grade 3, the one that searches out Riviere, adds back Riviere from the drop. If I'm behind, I'm probably just gonna do that. I mean, what can you do? You're behind already, might as well. So that's just my mindset behind it. Yeah, so that's the Riviere deck profile for you. Really strong deck of the format. Recommend you guys look into it, play it while you still can, because I think this deck is just so much consistency advantage. It's just insane. And I mean, personally, coming from me, when I like playing Revengers, where you just kept rewriting and just smacking your opponent, this is kind of nostalgic to me, so I definitely like this deck. So yeah, till next time guys, stay tuned for more Vanguard. All right.